Okay, before we dive into Photoshop, I want to make sure that you have something in your computer set up to save all of your Photoshop assignments. So if you will open a window, you should see over on the left-hand side OneDrive followed by either your name or Lamar Consolidated ISD. If it does not have Lamar Consolidated, that means that you did not sync when we did the file management videos, and you need to go back to week 1 and watch those videos and sync your OneDrive. It is in there. Once you get into your OneDrive, you need to create a new folder by clicking this up here, and you need to name it whatever your class is called. So if your class is PAAVTC, then make a folder called that. If you are in graphic design and illustration 1 or 2, then call it GDI 1 or GDI 2 or whatever your class is. Inside of that folder, of your class folder, you need to make another folder. Calls this one Photoshop, because you want to make sure that all of your Photoshop files are saved in that folder. That way it makes it easy for you to see. I strongly recommend that you collapse this quick access so that you don't see it, because truthfully all it does is confuse people as to where things are located. Just remember, it is in your OneDrive. That is where you are saving things. So when I go to my Start button, the little window icon, I will see all of the software that is on my computer. You may or may not already have Photoshop loaded on your computer. We are going to be using Photoshop 2020. If you have a previous version like I do here, I am going to show you how you can uninstall that version using the Adobe Creative Cloud. Go ahead and launch the Adobe Creative Cloud, and you are going to sign into it using your LCISD email address. So it's the username you use to log into Computer or Canvas or any of those apps, followed by the @ symbol, students.lcisd.org. Choose company or school account, and it will launch the app. And I want you to think of, you might have to do the Microsoft login too, by the way, and that is your LCISD password. Adobe Creative Cloud is what stores all of the software we use. You can launch apps from it. You can also download from it. So, as it is loading them right now, you will see up here at the top that you have all apps: desktop, mobile, web. We are wanting to obviously use our desktop ones right now. You'll notice that I have 2 Photoshop versions right here. We want the one that has the highest number. That's going to be 2020. So I'm going to come right here and I am going to click on the 3 dots and I'm going to hit uninstall. And it says, before we uninstall this app, please tell us if you'd like to keep or remove notifications, alerts, interface settings, and other preferences. Removing preferences may prevent them from being migrated to newer versions of the app. So I'm going to go ahead and click keep. And it's going to work on removing that or uninstalling it. Now, if you do not already have Photoshop loaded, then these open buttons will say install instead, and go ahead and hit install. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and I'm going to go back to the start button, and I am going to choose Adobe Photoshop 2020 and launch this. As it opens, you get a welcome screen. And your welcome screen simply gives you the option to create a new file, open existing files. From down here, as you start working, you will see previously saved files show up down here. If for some reason you get rid of your welcome screen, you can always go to File, New, File, Open. Those work the same. I'm going to go ahead and click on Create New, and I'm going to choose default Photoshop size, which is a 7 by 5 inch. Over here on the right, you have the ability to change the orientation from portrait to landscape. And notice it shows you the icon of what the difference is. So portrait is taller, landscape is wider. Then you have the ability to change the background color, which is important because sometimes you want a custom one, sometimes you want transparent, meaning no background at all, and sometimes you want to be able to choose a color. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at white and click Create. Now, before you start working in Photoshop, we have to be aware of the workspace and everything that's in it and what it is called. So, let us start by looking up here at the top. You have a menu bar up here, and pretty much every piece of software has a menu bar, and you can do everything in it that you need. So File, New, Open, Close, Save As, Save, Export, Print. Those are all important things there. Edit has a lot of good options in it. Cut, copy, paste. Undo, redo, and you also have the ability to transform from here. Image has some image adjustments, which is going to be a whole nother topic. Layers, which is also a very important feature in Photoshop. Type, meaning the text. Select, which will be the first batch of tools we look at. Filter, which has some really cool effects, as well as 3D. Those of you that are on older computers may not be able to do 3D just because it requires a much stronger computer than your average computer. The View menu, which gives you different ways of looking at your screen. I would go ahead here under the View menu and turn on your ruler. Right here. That way you see a ruler along the top horizontal edge and the left vertical ruler. Under Window is where you will find every panel that is available in Photoshop, and they are listed in alphabetic order. You also have the ability to arrange your workspace. So if you have more than one document open, you can arrange it. And you can go here to reset your workspace, which I'll show you in a minute. And one of the most important things, probably besides the Window menu, is the Help menu. You can go into Photoshop Help, and as long as you have an idea of what you are looking for, you can always go in there and search for things to help you out. So if you have forgotten where a tool is or anything else or what it looks like, type in the name of that tool and it's going to show you where it is and how to use it. So under here, under the Window menu, is Workspace. And by default, Essentials is the workspace that is chosen for you. A lot of times we work through and we move things around, opening and closing panels. So we always have the ability to reset our Essentials or any other workspace we are working in. That is typically the one that I choose, and then I customize it for what I want to do. But I want you to notice that you have lots of different options. If you are working solely with photos, then maybe you want the photography workspace or graphic and web for that workspace. But again, I'm going to set it at Essentials. Here we have our options bar. just below the menu bar. And our options bar with our selection tool selected, or our move tool selected, looks like this. But you'll notice as I click on different tools, the options change. Okay, so each tool has different options that help it function, help it perform the way that it should. Okay, so that is here and over. That is your options bar. This right here is the ability to exit to your home screen or your welcome screen. That's that little home icon. Here we have our toolbar. I want you to notice that you have the ability to see your tools in 2 columns, 1 column. You can move it around. You can dock it. Notice the blue line that allows me to dock it, and I could actually dock it anywhere I wanted. So if I wanted everything on one side as opposed to the tools over here and my panels over here, I could do that. Sometimes you may accidentally close something. Remember that we can go to our window menu, and down here is our tools, and it will open it back up. I want you to see that there's some little dots, little lines right here. This is what I'm grabbing a hold of to move it and dock it into place. Now, if you wind up closing a lot of things as opposed to just one item, then maybe instead of choosing just that item, you just reset your workspace and it'll bring it back. Over here on the right hand side is our panels. Okay, and we have certain ones that are open, certain ones that are open but collapsed, and some that aren't there at all. Okay, it doesn't mean that you can't open them, but they are here waiting to be opened. One of the first things I always do is I kind of decide based on what I'm working on what panels I want. So I don't really feel like I need that Learn panel, so I go ahead and close it. Adjustments and libraries, I double click on that tab to collapse it so it stays open, but it reduces the size so that I can make room for other things. And notice how I can drag that line in between panels to expand the size of them. History panel is one of those that initially anyway you are going to use quite a bit. So I think it's a good idea to go ahead and drag it and drop that up here so that it's open and available for you. This one here is the properties, and I will probably put that and dock that with history so that I can see history. I don't need color at the moment, but that's just at the moment. And then layers, and layers is something that you always, always, always want open. Okay? Now, this area here in the middle is your workspace. Okay? It's your canvas. And it's where you create your work. Down here, we have a zoom menu, or sorry, not zoom menu. Well, yes, it's your zoom, and it shows you the level that you are currently zoomed to. So right now it's saying that my canvas is 50% of its total size. I have keyboard shortcuts that allow me to expand and reset my zoom. So if I hold down my control key and control and hit the plus key, it makes it bigger. So now you see it's 66%. If I hold down the minus key, it zooms out. It's not changing the canvas size, it's simply changing the amount of zoom. If I hold down control and 0, it makes it fit the screen.